Hey guys, we are back again today with, I know, another Gremlin, but today we have got the Ultimate Flasher. We're going to take a look at him, see what makes him tick, see what we think about him. So, right there, the classic lovely Neca display box, window seal here, and, a lot of glare going on there, but he's got the coat, he's got the accessories, we're going to open them up, take a look. So let's get right back into it. Okay, so what we got here is we got a really nice Ultimate for our pleasure today. We have got Gremlin, his coat. We've got some cool accessories. Let's just go over them real quick. We've got some sunglasses here, another beer here, just like with the standard Ultimate Gremlin. We've got a handful of cards that he can hold, just like the Ultimate Gremlin. What I like about this one is that it comes with the whole little poker chip set. So if you want to make a display, like I plan to, of them sitting there playing game of poker and everything, right there is your perfect little token pile and whatnot. Got a little poker visor going here. We've got this little thing here, hammer, and this one appears to come with an extra hand, and I really like that. I have noted in the past that I wish that a few of these releases would come with hands. But moving on, we have got a whole bundle of lit cigarettes here and everything, and then a bow tie. So let's get him out of the box and see what he looks like. Alright, so accessories, like we already went over. We have got our hand of cards right here. Nice little accessory. We have got sunglasses. Great. We have got a little poker playing visor here. We'll get to him in a minute. That's what just fell, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Well, we have got a nice little bow tie for him. Again, we've got a beer with this guy, just like with the Ultimate, and same thing. You can empty out the glass and have an empty glass. Same thing with the Ultimate. It has got that little right there, and just kind of slides into place right there for your full beer. Now, like I was saying about these poker chips, there's a few cards down there too. This is just a great little table piece for any kind of diorama setup that you're going to do. Now, what I thought was a whole bundle of lit cigarettes, kind of is, but is actually just 4 separate lit cigarettes here. Nice, but I kind of wish it was a solid piece with them kind of, something around looking like that. I feel like if they just, glued up that little bit there, it would be a really nice piece. But having 4 separate ones, we'll mess around, see if we can get all 4 in his mouth without any troubles. But we have got a nice little mallet hammer here. We've got a nice little sock puppet plush thing, and I'm drawing a blank on where this actually fits in with this. I don't remember in the movie anything to do with this guy, but I could just be missing that too. I'm not an expert on the movie. I don't recall absolutely everything. Now, my favorite part about this is that we have got an alternate hand, and it is a closed hand, which I'm assuming they put in there to have him be able to hold that hammer better. Now, I feel like all of these Ultimate Gremlin lines should have came with alternate hands, but it's nice that this one actually does come with an alternate hand. Now, it is only one for the left hand. So, now moving on to the figure himself. Great sculpt, as always, with these guys. Like, I feel like these are probably one of the better sculpted figures out there. But my problem just fresh out of the box trying to stand him up. There we go. We got him stood up. He's got this coat. Very nice. And, of course, we're going to get to the big question. Can he hold it open and flash? Before that, comes with this nice little Indiana Jones style hat here. And my problem with this, as you could probably hear from that little drop, it is kind of heavy. So, and also, Gremlins don't really have the heads for a hat. Now it looks good. Yep, and there we go. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Kind of weighs him down, but you can use it to get him to stand in some alternate poses that without the extra weight on the head would be kind of hard for him to stand up in. I'd recommend finding some way to kind of mount him down. No matter what pose you're going to end up doing with him, especially if you're going to have the hat on him, or even him holding his accessories. We haven't messed around to try to pose him yet, but I feel like posing him and getting him to stay in a pose is going to be kind of an issue. Now, I'm going to sit here and try to open up his thing, and we're going to see, is he going to stand around and flash? Because we got to see if our Gremlin's going to, rock out with his cock out tonight. Okay, after a few minutes here of messing around with him, his coat does actually it's not as flimsy as you would expect it to be, which is really nice because it gives you that option to really pose that coat whichever way you want to. And as you can see, we kind of just went for that classic pose like they feature on the box, just him trying to hold it open and everything. But a couple things I ran into with trying to achieve that pose. He's got really long arms. Now, all these Gremlins, they do have those long arms. And overall, I do like that. I feel like they should have compensated for that a little bit better with the coat. I feel like they should have extended out the coat just a little bit on either end and everything, because the way they had it wrapped around when we first got it out of the box was really nice, and that was actually held in place. He's got these little straps, and it's just a standard little, cross under and blah, 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 1, 2, tie your shoes. And it works really great. Now, you can get him to kind of hold one, and here he goes again. But you can get him to kind of hold one end in his hand, but if you try to get his other arm to hold onto it, I'm sure he's just messing around with it for a quick second and everything, trying to get him just to have some kind of, flashing pose going on. He kind of will grip it like, down here and then almost get his arm to a position that he can hold like the top over here. So, kind of just like doing one of these kind of things, holding it at these 2 points here. Almost, but I wasn't able to actually get him to officially hold that. And the thing I noticed, and that worries me about him having all these cigarettes, I don't think all of them are going to sit in his mouth the way you would want to without being loose and just falling out. And we're going to showcase this right now because you'd think you could get them kind of between his teeth kind of thing, but there's not really enough room here. We might have to mess about and move things around. Now, my main worry when I go to make these poses is he going to keep the pose? Is he going to drop stuff? Is the stuff going to make him fall over onto himself? Now this I'm having an issue with because I'm just one-handed, but we're gonna leave it at that. Just the three looks nice. Total chain smoker, we all have an uncle that has sat there and just gotten too drunk and lit up 4 cigarettes because why not? So 4 cigarettes, I'm sure you can get it in there if you mess around and you have more than one free hand, because my other hand is holding the phone camera. But let's get back to accessories and everything. We have got, like we said, the playing cards, and it appears that it's exactly the same as one that comes with the Ultimate Gremlin. I am going to need both hands to sit here and mess about with this, so let's take a second real quick and see what all this is about. Alright, so one thing that I really do like, because I have seen some clothed figures come in where you're not going to be able to remove that clothing. Now, like I said, here's that jacket. It is a lot more sturdy than you would expect it to be. It's not as flimsy as you would think, and as you've seen how we had it sitting up just a second before when we had two hands to set it up, it stood up perfectly by itself. If you get it, and there he goes. Anyway, so, well, you've seen it when we first came back from the little break. Like, there. Perfectly posable on its own. Perfectly fine. Now, why we came back a little bit early is because we snapped off his hand. We wanted to show off that. And we have got our other hand sculpt that we're going to put on and see how he looks holding that hammer. Now, if you look at them, they have your classic little, like peg and hole thing going on. Let's see if we can get in the light there. Yeah, so, big hole there. Nice little peg stop here. If we want to focus in on that peg stop, see if we can do that. Well, I'm sure any of you watching this have some sort of experience with any kind of figure that has interchangeable hands. So, real simple to just kind of like give it a good tug and pull it off. So let's put on his new hand and pose him about. Okay, so we have got him here posed with his beer in this hand, and why aren't we focused? But got that hammer going on in this hand, and if we take a closer look at that, just nice little handpiece, slides in and out, really nice where that hammer goes. One thing I will say about these hand pieces, that peg is tight. It was a bit of a struggle to actually get that spare hand on there. So what you might want to do is your old little heated water trick, soak this handpiece in some hot water, hot to boiling water. If you're worried about, paint chipping or, any kind of like damage to the paint job or whatever, you can always throw it in a Ziploc bag and throw that into your boiling water. Now, one thing I did notice, because I was sitting here, I was looking at this bow tie, and I'm sitting here like, okay, like you can't get that on over his ear at all. How is this really gonna go on him? And what I did find out is that his head actually, see if we can do this with one hand. There we go. His head comes right off, the little ball peg. And that is actually really neat because, just look at that head sculpt. That is great. That is a nice little thing that you could do a lot with, honestly. Just as the head, you can... How creepy would it be on any kind of diorama if you just had a random gremlin head on the wall? And, he looks pretty sweet. And the cool thing about these guys is how they got that articulation at the ear. So you can kind of pose those ears around. And, you can see there, like, it's got its little pivot. You can go back with it, forward with it. You can really get these guys exactly the way you want them. It's just going to take some messing about with them. So let's put them all back together and check out his articulation, and then we'll throw on his coat again, and we will mess about with him and do our full little review. Alright, so if you've watched any of my other Neca Gremlins reviews, you will notice that all three of the ones that I have done so far. I've done the Ultimate Gremlin, the Ultimate Stripe, and now the Ultimate Flasher. All three of them basically are the same kind of casting, honestly. They all got like the same articulation points to them and everything. And so if you're familiar with those other reviews, or even have a gremlin of your own, chances are they probably are exactly the same. You got your standard little, I believe he stands about 6 inches tall. He's part of the 7-inch line, but we've got that shoulder articulation. Now the same thing with the other ones. He's got that kind of quadruple little like armor plating kind of, you know, scaling going on at his shoulder, which really prevents him from getting a full range in there. But you know, it's workable with and everything. Now then, we also have our elbow joint, you know, which is very nice and stiff. Like, and that's the thing with all of these gremlins I've reviewed, all of them have had those stiff like joints and everything. So again, Ziploc bag, boil them up and everything, get them in that pose you want while they're still warmed up, and it'll be a little bit easier to get them into that pose. And as they cool down, like, you know, they'll get stiff again and stay in that pose for you. Now then, we got that wrist action again on these guys, you know, that full swivel. Now we've got that full swivel here, and we've also got that swivel at the elbow, so you can really get him where you want him. Now, and like I said already, we have got a little bit of range for those ears, and we do have the little where we can push it back, so we can get his ears straight. So we just snap that ear, but as you can see, we've got that ear perfectly back. Like I said, those stiff joints, they are going to cause a little bit of trouble for you. Definitely boil that figure first. Snapped ear. Ain't a big deal for me. A little bit of super glue, get that back into place. I'm not going to do a lot of messing about with the ear placements on these guys. I like my ears straight out, but that's kind of why you want to make sure you boil your figures first. But slight bummer, slight. But look how great he looks with one ear. Now, just going back onto articulation, let's forget about the ear. So we have got a little jawline. That ear's bugging me now, I know. But like I said already, that head does come off on that ball peg, and it is just, you know, standard little ball peg. We have got a great range of motion with that. You know, looking at the inside there, just straight up ball peg gives you a wide range of how you want to do the head. You know, you can swivel it, you can like move it up and down. We've got the same thing going on with the base of the neck. We already did the arms. We've got our abdomen movements, and this guy really moves. He really does. Makes me wonder, but we already snapped the ear. I think he's on a ball peg. I think he's got a double joint ball peg holding his top and his bottom half together, in all honesty. And this guy feels a little bit loose to me. Kind of curious about that. Let's see. Because he's got good motion. A lot better than the other two, which makes me wonder if I just got a really loose one. Because you never know, it's always hit or miss. You either get like a loose figure, you get like a tight joint figure, and you know, do stuff like that. But moving on, we have got his leg, and he does rotate his leg right there at the hip slightly. There's not a big range of motion you're going to get with that, but you can rotate it around. And then just like with the other ones, we have got the back of the knee. We've got that range of mobility there. And then just like the other ones too, we have got that like second knee. I'm not exactly sure what we want to really be referring to that as, but then we got that ankle. So that's all the range we got on him. Great range, and we've got an extra ear now. So let's go ahead and put his coat back on and see what all we're going to do with him. We'll set him up with his accessories, bow tie, all the whole shebang and everything. Alright, so we have also got him set up with this little puppet thing that he's got here. Now, his hand does actually come off, and like we've seen on his hands, if we can get the light there, we got the little hole, peg hole, you know. He's got the hole on him, and the little peg just You know, you're just fisting the rabbit now. So that ear is still annoying me, but we've got him set up with his hammer. Now, when you're going to take his coat on and or off, it's really simple. I mean, you just kind of want to throw his arms back and just kind of slide it off. It is a little bit difficult when you have these hands on there, as those claws, they do want to grab at the sleeve. So you might want to take those arms off. And like I said, definitely want to boil your figure, heat it up, something to make that plastic a little bit easier to take off and put back on. Now, we didn't do anything with the visor because honestly, I don't care about the visor. If we want to be perfectly honest here, I really don't care about this visor thing, and I'm not really seeing a good way of putting it on him. Like, even here at this point, unless it's something to do with the ears being back, but you know, I'm pretty done messing with the ear articulation in my opinion. But the only other thing that I could see is going straight down his chin. Now let's see if we can get him to stand back up. Okay, no, he's not going to stand back up. But the only other thing I can see is like hooking it onto him kind of like this, with this part down at the bottom of his mouth, and just kind of doing like one of those things. Quick little visual. Kind of like that, but now we just got, you know, little Betty Boop baby Bjorn going on over here, like, you know, about to herd a bunch of sheep like Bo Peep style over to Woody, and not really a big fan of that. I don't like it. I don't like the little visor, poker visor or not, I don't really care for it. But yeah, that is our ultimate flasher. Now, real easy to work with that coat. You know, just one thumb did it. Bummer about what happened to the ear there, but it's not a big deal. Definitely is not anything to get too upset about. I mean, like, I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue on that and put it back in. Like I said, I'm not gonna mess around with the ear articulation at all. But in terms of articulation, just like with the other ones, like, I definitely give it at least like I don't remember what I've been rating these guys, but I'm giving it a solid 8.5 out of 10 for articulation. There's not too much else that I would really want articulated on him, but there is a few things that kind of annoy me. Nothing major or worth pointing out. Like, he's definitely a great figure. All of these gremlins are. Now, in terms of sculpt and accessories, if you want a gremlin that comes with the whole shebang, Ultimate Gremlin doesn't come with too much accessories that are actually fun to play around with. I mean, it comes with a couple candy bars and stuff, and you know, kind of not a whole lot to mess around with. Now, if you want something that comes with a lot of accessories and gives you that playability to mess around with posing him and everything, definitely go for your Ultimate Flasher Gremlin. Because, like I said, we've got the poker chips, we've got the cards. The Ultimate Gremlin comes with the cards. But this guy comes with the cards, he comes with the beer, he comes with more cigarettes. Like, the Ultimate just came with the one, this guy came with 4, and right there's 3. We're missing one somewhere, and we'll have to find that before my kids wake up. But all in all, like, I mean, look at all these accessories. You have got like 2 different choices of hats. We have sunglasses, we've got cigarettes, we've got extra hands, guys. Like, extra hands is a big sell on me. We have got the beer, and like, I mean, like, empty glass, full glass, you know, I mean, very minor little thing there, like, nice little touch, but yeah. Cards, poker chips, hammer, sock puppet, and essentially, honestly, I think he's basically exactly the same gremlin as the Ultimate Gremlin. It's the same thing they did when they released the Ninja Turtles. They released the Raphael, and then they gave you the Incognito Raphael. Same figure, more accessories. So definitely highly recommend this Ultimate Flasher. All in all, I give him a 9 out of 10. I'd give him a 9.5 if it wasn't for the fact I broke the ear. But that's my bad, so still give him that 9.5. He's an amazing figure. Definitely pick him up. Thanks, guys.